Thank you, everybody, for coming out. This is the Managing Your Wild Neighbours presentation, and my name is Donna Doyle. I'm a Senior Environmental Policy Analyst with the town of Oakville. On the agenda for this evening will be a short introduction to some of the wildlife issues that the town is working on, followed by Norm North, who is going to give you a short presentation on how the town deals with one of its more prominent wild residents, Canada geese. They will then move to Bill Dowd with Humane Wildlife Control, who will be speaking on how to prevent and manage wildlife on your property that might be getting into places where you'd rather not have them. A big focus on tonight's presentations will be on prevention, because when we have conflict situations with wildlife, it's generally just because they're looking to meet basic needs like food and shelter, and whether intentionally or not, we end up offering them an ideal spot or snack when we come into conflict situations. Moving on, I'm just going to give a really brief overview of the town's work on some of the wildlife matters. And so one of the big things that we just came out with, 2011, Council approved the Oakville Wildlife Strategy, called OWLS for short. And there's a number of reasons that this document was developed. And in Oakville, we're really fortunate to have so many beautiful natural areas around us, and this includes many species that make their homes here as well. In fact, we live in one of the richest areas of biodiversity in Canada. We have over 185 bird species, 30 amphibian and reptile species, 29 mammals, and 58 fish species recorded. And a number of these are listed as either endangered or threatened. So we want to make sure we all do our part to protect these great features and support what helps makes our community so great. So what's in the strategy? There's a lot of confusion around wildlife and who's responsible for what. And I'm not going to get into a lot of the details on that. We do have an entire section devoted to that in the Oakville Wildlife Strategy, which is online. But generally, when it comes to conflict situations that involve property matters, wildlife is the responsibility of the property owner. And so if there's a situation such as a raccoon nesting under your deck or something getting into your garden, the property owner needs to deal with it. And if there's property damage occurring on town property or conflict situation, likewise, it's up to the town to deal with it appropriately. And realistically, we can't hunt or trap animals in the urban area, and it's really not the best option anyhow. If there's an appropriate habitat that you're providing or a food source, another animal's going to move in pretty quickly because it's a good location for them. So the other thing that we are dealing with in the Oakville Wildlife Strategy, current conditions, we wanted to look at legislation and what we had as far as our environment, where animals were living. We also looked at current challenges that we were facing, which is things like species at risk, conflict situations, and we were looking at best management practices. So we looked both within Ontario and even in other countries to look at what other people were doing that we could draw from to help us deal with our wildlife issues. And probably the most important thing, we have a set of 10 recommendations that came out of the Oakville Wildlife Strategy. So the OWLS is like a roadmap and an inventory. So the recommendations are really the action plan part of it, and it's steps that we should take to improve the quality of our wildlife and biodiversity and reduce conflict situations. And one of the most important pieces that was recommended in this action plan was an education and outreach program, and thus this presentation tonight is part of that. We've had a number of other sessions as well on coyotes, which we've given. And we've also partnered with groups like Oakville Green, as I mentioned. We've developed a number of resources also, which I'll talk about in a minute, that are available to you to help deal with wildlife as well. And one of those is the Oakville Wildlife Conflict Protocols. And this was developed as part of the strategy. And they're meant to help both staff and private property owners deal with solutions or come up with solutions to conflict situations. And this is available online. It's just, it goes through some of the more common animals that we sometimes have coming into conflict, especially with property matters, and ways to effectively deal with it humanely and also in a preventive way so that we make sure that we have long-term solutions. We also are going to be putting this into official policy and procedure, which is actually going to be finalized by the end of the year. So this will make sure that the town uses this as part of their operating standards. So as I mentioned, we do have quite a few resources. In addition to tonight's session, which is going to be videotaped for people who can't make it or if you want to review anything later. We have that. We have the wildlife conflict management guidelines, as I mentioned. We've got a coyote reporting system, so if you do see coyotes that are, perhaps being a little bit aggressive, or if there's any issues that you're finding somebody is leaving food out, we do have an online and phone mechanism for you to contact the town and let us know about that. We have a number of fact sheets. We've got some of them available here tonight out at the front. We've got Canada Geese, how to choose a responsible wildlife management company, and coyotes out front if you'd like to help yourself. And we also have a website on the town's website that deals specifically with environment or wildlife matters. And a lot of these resources are there and many more. And we also have one last piece. This is Answering the Call of the Wild, which is put out by the Toronto Wildlife Centre. It's a really good resource, so if you do have sort of situations on your property and you're not sure what to do about it, this is a really good resource, goes through what steps to take. It's available at Town Hall. We have them at all of our libraries, and you can also purchase it if you're really interested from the Toronto Wildlife Centre. So that's what the town has to say about this for now.